Hello and welcome to Industries Helping Hands. We welcome you to the Talk with Industry Expert session. Today, here in this video, we are going to have a conversation with an electric vehicle industry expert, Mr. Saumya Ranjan Rout Sir. As a passionate young entrepreneur, he started his journey as a co-founder of Spike Electric. It is one of the India's largest B2B and B2C electric commercial vehicle deployment channel. Then he explored in the electric vehicle industry and became the CEO and founder of the Verge Motors. He is aiming to build India's first plug-in hybrid electric two-wheeler, and currently he is playing an important role in the log-line materials. With the strong entrepreneurship skills and with a very good knowledge, we are very glad to have the conversation with him. The automobile sector is now at the cusp of electric vehicle. The students across India wanted to know how the electric vehicle industry is going to open the doors for the job opportunities. So this session is going to be very knowledgeable and fruitful for you because in this session we are going to figure out the answers of all these questions. इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल जो कि एक नया रिवॉल्यूशन है जिसमें जरूरत है इनोवेशन की और स्किल अपग्रेडेशन की। आपके स्किल्स को अपग्रेड करने के लिए इंडस्ट्रीज हेल्पिंग हैंड्स लगातार टॉक विद इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट लेकर आ रहा है, जिससे कि आप अपने नॉलेज को अनलॉक कर सकते हैं और जान सकते हैं कि किस तरीके से आप अपने करियर को बिल्ड कर सकते हैं इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल इंडस्ट्री के लिए। जिस तरीके से हमारी स्टूडेंट कम्युनिटी ग्रो कर रही है, अगर आप भी इसका हिस्सा बनना चाहते हैं तो आप हमसे कनेक्ट हो सकते हैं डायरेक्टली हमारे व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप और टेलीग्राम चैनल के थ्रू, जिसका लिंक आपको डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स पर मिल जाएगा। इसके साथ ही किसी भी तैयारी करने वाले स्टूडेंट के दिमाग में काफी सारे क्वेश्चंस होते हैं। अगर आपके पास भी ऐसा कोई क्वेश्चन है जिसे लेकर आप कंफ्यूज हैं, तो आप उसे लिख सकते हैं नीचे कमेंट बॉक्स पे, ताकि अगले आने वाले टॉक विद इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट सेशन में हम आपके क्वेश्चन को डिस्कस कर पाए। और ज्यादा से ज्यादा अपडेट्स जानने के लिए आप विजिट कर सकते हैं हमारी वेबसाइट industrieshelpinghands.com और साथ ही आप हमारे मोबाइल एप्लीकेशन को भी इंस्टॉल कर सकते हैं। तो चलिए इस वीडियो को शुरू करते हैं, लेकिन अगर उसके पहले आपने अभी तक हमारे इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो इसे सब्सक्राइब जरूर कर लें, ताकि ऐसे लेटेस्ट अपडेट्स और आपके करियर के रिगार्डिंग इंफॉर्मेशन आपको मिलती रहे। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं इस एक्सपर्ट टॉक सेशन को।
It's very important for people to have this industry connect slightly earlier than when they actually graduate and learn about the tools and the softwares and the processes behind building a product, which will be something that they'll be naturally be working in any industry. So a very good step in having this connect and having all of this content made for students to first see and then evaluate whether taking up a course is something that they'd be keen on, or having this first level connect helps them understand what the industry is like. So a good step in that direction.
Hello and welcome to the Industries Expert Talk session. Today we are having with us one of the dynamic leader of the electric vehicle industry, Mr. Saumya Ranjan Rout Sir. He is the co-founder as well as the CEO of the Verge Motors. I'm very glad that you have joined us today, sir. Thank you so much for joining. And along with you, we are having Mr. IHHPETians, sir. He is the project head of electric vehicle courses at Industries Helping Hands. Today, even on your week off, you are giving your much of the time to us, sir. So thank you so much, and thank you for joining us, sir. How are you doing today?
Hey, thanks for having me, Swati and Ashish. I'm doing great. Thanks, for you to also to take some time out of the weekend and having this call. So I'm excited to share my insights or my learnings over the last couple of years that I've been in the industry with the students or excited crowd out there looking forward to join the industry in the coming years or very shortly. So yeah, happy to be here and share something insightful.
Definitely, sir. We are also looking forward to have the fruitful conversation today, because electric vehicle is the new revolution. It's the time for the EV boom. Everyone is talking about the electric vehicle segment, but the thing is that the world is rapidly transitioning the mobility with the electric vehicles. But the main question is that, are the students of our country are transforming their skill and abilities to become EV industry ready? It's a big question. So I would like to say to our student community across India who are watching us today, in this session we are going to cover the topics and the questions that usually arises in the mind of the student, like what are the job opportunities in the EV industry, how a student should build their career in the EV industry. All these questions are going to cover in this particular talk session because for answering all these questions, we are having very knowledgeable and experienced Saumya sir. So I would like to know your views, sir, how the electric vehicle is transforming the mobility, the EV revolution. So how you are seeing that and what are the impacts of it in the present as well as in future, sir?
So, I mean, yeah, everyone, I'm sure, has been reading news quite lately when, there are incidents of, at least if not good things, EVs catching a lot of fire or, uh, bad things recently. But to give you an idea about the scale of EVs in India, or rather, how we consume vehicles in total, we have, uh, you know, roughly 20 to 25 million vehicles sold per year, uh, just in India, right? Out of which roughly 18 to 20 million would be two wheelers, point, uh, maybe point 0.4 to point 0.5 million would be three wheelers, point 0.4 million, again, point 0.4 to point 0.7 million, commercial four wheelers, and then passenger would be somewhere roughly around point 0.7 to even 1 million, four wheelers passenger vehicles sold. So in total, this is the overall market demand. Uh, Now, EV sales as such has been, less than 1% overall in terms of market penetration, but it's growing at a, double-digit CAGR, which is a very sort of, refreshing change for the reason that, we uh, I think globally, the overall emission that are produced, out of that, 25% is just tailpipe emission, uh, out of these vehicles that have been running. So a lot of uh, climate impact is driven by change of our habits and utilization of these vehicles. At least, if not exteriors of the city, but intra-city is very important for us to transition into EVs. At least to maintain a good sort of air quality index, as well as keeping good levels of yeah, basically keeping CO2 levels in check within city conditions. So very crucial for us to sort of adapt as well as start transitioning, even though costs and there are some sort of apprehensions right now uh, towards EVs, right? But that's very short term. But in a long term picture, I'm sure that the way people are reacting to EVs right now, growing in the multiples of double digit upper sort of level digits. It's very refreshing to see that this change is happening, and very inevitable in that sense. That the future, maybe 2025 to 2030, we can in fact at least two wheeler and three wheelers. You can pretty much I can see that happening, change happening where there'll be a 30, if not 50%, there'll be at least 30% penetration of EVs alone. So that's going to be very sort of uh, a very uh, uh, very possible future. So that's that was to just give you kind of give you the scale of what EVs penetration would look like. Apart from this, I think given that the fuel costs are anyway sort of increasing day by day, I think you can expect petrol to be at the cost of 150 rupees per liter in a year or two. I mean, that has been already sort of sanctioned for. It's just that it will be progressive. The price increase will be progressive, and then will be sort of reaching an upper limit there. So it's natural that all of these daily commuters and then your delivery guys and the guys who basically do a very long haulage to sort of convert to these kind of technology, which saves them a lot of operational costs as well. So operationally, it's cheaper. It's just that the upfront cost of EVs is slightly higher, which a lot of consumers are sort of opening up to, because they also are now considering the overall cost of ownership of these vehicles over a 5 year, 6 year timeline. So yeah, that's a change of consumer habit that at least we are observing as an OEM, and myself as working in the industry so far. So yeah, a lot of opportunities. That also means a lot of opportunities in the industry. The industry is also growing by double digits. A lot of new startups coming into sort of action, and then creating something valuable for the wherever there are opportunities in terms of vehicles or solutions, enabling vehicles to be running on the roads, um, such as supplying batteries, like in our case, or some companies enabling fast charging, or battery swapping, or making hardware components. A lot of OEMs, new OEMs coming about. So a lot of stakeholders are involved, in a lot of opportunities and for the new comers, and very good reason to have this conversation as well, to inform everyone about what the transition would look like and what will be the skill set change that will be required in the near future for everyone to sort of adapt to the new industry, so to say, uh, and the market needs. So yeah, uh, I hope that answers your question.
Definitely, sir, you have covered almost all the points. What kind of role EVs are playing in this rapid transformation? But we also realize that, sir, whenever any new technology comes, whenever there is any kind of technological revolution, it also
Hmm.
gives opportunity and opens the door for the job opportunities also. Like we need the skilled workforce. And it's a time, especially for the students who are at the age of 24 to 25, basically who are just passing their graduation or who are the freshers who are looking for the job opportunities. But one thing we have found out is that the students
Uh,
are not skilled properly as per the demand. So what are your views regarding the upskilling of the students, sir? We would like to know that. Kindly guide us and our student community regarding importance of upskilling, sir.
sure. If I'm not wrong, this sorry, I missed a part in between, but this is regarding what are the skill sets involved in upskilling, right? Or in what is the overall sort of sense of all the skills required for everyone to get sort of up sort of learn about this domain. Sure. Um, so yeah, I think a lot of change as well as similarity with the previous set of vehicles that we've been manufacturing. Uh, so there is, of course, there is the entire product life cycle that gets followed these vehicles as well, wherein you start from somewhere like design of vehicles, then you essentially test them, validate these vehicles, and then go for a homologation process where these vehicles are certified, uh, and then deployed. So there's a lot of marketing exercise and sales, and then the regular the regular way of distributing these vehicles. And then there are new methods, which is booking online and then delivering on the doorstep and things like that. Uh, so as such, a lot of similarity in the way of doing business of and pretty familiar sort of market as well. Uh, so the only difference here is the powertrain which the vehicle runs on. In case of an IC engine, it's usually propelled by an internal combustion engine with a powertrain coupled. Maybe in some most vehicles there's manual transmission, or some transmission that basically helps the engine to operate at different RPMs. whereas an electric vehicle has much simpler powertrain components, very less moving parts. That's why they are more efficient in conversion of energy. And then also, they are in fact more, uh, you know, slightly different in terms of how they operate. Uh, so there's a good understanding of electronics and electrical components that is necessary to design these, fundamental components of these vehicles. So, to give you some idea, maybe I can walk you through a product life cycle. Or for everyone's better understanding, we can basically go through some of the, entire life cycle and then decide, because end of the day, it boils down to what is, a particular person, interested in, whether it is the design of the vehicle, whether somebody is good at sales and marketing, then they fit in well. If it's still an interest in automobiles, and so it depends where everyone fits in. Not everyone would qualify, or rather, be interested in designing a vehicle, or designing the hardware or software. So, so a lot of it depends on self, sort of motivation and interest. So, somebody may be also, very keen on starting up. So a lot of different interests. So we can basically look at a product life cycle and see where, kind of everyone would be interested in sort of seeing, or sort of envisaging themselves fitting in. So we can start at, so the initial design would look like vehicle getting sort of designed on paper, in parallel. So there's always product sketches. So there are courses online for product design and then sketching, which people, or guys who are more artistically, sort of are familiar, and then also like designing vehicles and and graphic design. I think they can pick up design courses. There are also colleges that offer, Bachelor in Design BDes and MDes courses, which uh, you know uh, which they can pick up and sort of enroll themselves in getting that sort of a degree, and then also do some professional courses to get enrolled. Then comes the mechanical design, which is, a lot of components. Once the PRDs are defined with product required documents, these essentially get sketches, or rather the initial product requirements get uh, converted to mechanical components, or designs, which essentially will be part of the regular mechanical engineering course, uh, or industrial design. So there are a lot of common and familiar sort of courses out there. Are good if somebody needs a specialization in terms of EVs. There are a lot of courses online and a lot of media. I think if you go on YouTube itself, you can type Weber Auto or Lessix, or learn engineering. A lot of information out there already about uh, electric vehicles, and then how these vehicles are designed internally. Learn about the components and things like that. So mechanical engineering or industrial design courses that will help in if somebody is more inclined towards design of components, and then learn about the mechanical engineering side of things. Automobile engineering is also sort of crucial, and I see a lot of transition also happening from IC and EV there in terms of courses. So that's a good change there. Apart from this, product then moves to a lot of electronics component uh, that also sort of play a important role in getting this vehicle rolling. So there's always a motor controller involved. There is DC-DC converters. There is all the auxiliaries that and the wiring harness. So all this requires electronics and electricals understanding. So basic engineering courses, and then in fact, I would suggest, if people are very, very sort of interested in getting themselves familiar, might as well, since now there are a lot of, uh, you know, uh, uh, kits available online. There is always a possibility of building something like a DIY kit, or getting a small prototype done themselves to understand the basics of building electric vehicle. A lot of videos online. I think if somebody wants to get started building something for themselves, like a small, in fact, vehicle is possible now that the ease of access to these parts has grown so much, and the availability of these components has grown so much that all of these parts are available online, can be ordered, and then people can experiment, building different form factors but then there's also a cautionary note there that batteries are to be sort of dealt with more caution. So I would recommend that all of this exercises are done in a controlled environment or somewhere. Um, so people have to sign up for a course building something, but yeah, just with more caution. There are batteries involved, and then there's a possibility that this is not done properly. There's always a sort of chances of fire. So that's one thing. I think electronics we discussed. Uh, for for building an expertise in electric vehicles, a very good point to start would be to start looking at a vehicle level product requirement. So essentially scaling powertrain to a certain size, and then a lot of I think information online, as well as taking up a course that helps anyone sort of decide how to size powertrain for a given vehicle format is a key sort of ask, as well as a key learning experience for any vehicle to be sort of uh, and a good exercise to learn about electric vehicles as well. How do you decide a certain powertrain component to be fixed for a given payload, for a given gross vehicle weight, gradability, and top speed? And so how do you design essentially the fundamental motor, uh, sort of motor or controller uh, for the application? So that's very crucial for anyone to understand. A lot of courses out there. If somebody is in their early days of the bachelor courses, or even in fact school as well, they can pick up all this online and then take up a course or some certification online, which will help them in getting this sort of expertise early on, and also help them in doing all these projects which they can take up most probably later. Then we more then I think down the line. So if somebody wants to sort of gain more experience and expertise, of course, working in a startup helps. So a lot of startups working on different form factors, and then can help all of these, or nurture early sort of interest uh, in these vehicles. So if anyone's interested and is there, they are in their third or fourth year of engineering courses, or design courses, or whatever it is, they're keen on learning more about electric vehicles. I think nothing better than start working or start approaching these companies for some sort of a role or internship to begin with. And then I think that's what gives, I think working in industry gives the best experience, or start, of course, working physically on a product, or actual product gives the best experience overall than any course. So that's something that I would recommend. If anything, I think reaching out to companies. I know there are very sort of less after the pandemic. There are even lesser companies sort of working on this, but overall, I think a good a good opportunity for everyone who's very very keen to start learning about all this, and then get in touch with the team members, or the human resource sort of uh, domain of the companies, to then you sort of reach out for any role or openings, or kind of internship opportunities in these companies, then learn sort of all these skills and explore what they like, right? So nobody really, at least from my experience, I think nobody really gets what they want early, right from the sort of start. So So it's a good learning experience and exploration that somebody can sort of start with, and then figure out whether they fit in the technical roles or marketing or design or sales or any other domain that they like to pick up. Uh, so apart from this, I think a lot of technical. I think technical is not just sort of limited. Technical and software understanding is good to have. There's all a lot of I think in a general sort of view, a lot of things that a lot of experts that come into place are from the other other sort of fields as well. So, for example, testing and validation requires a lot of understanding of the AIS norms, which is automotive industry sort of standard. And these, having a clarity with the AIS norms and what are the compliances that are required, what are the norms that are getting followed for a vehicle to be type approved by the regulatory authorities, and keeping a good track of all the compliances is a good good understanding to have from the start. Good skill set to pick up as well. So what is the homologation process, and then validation process, learning a lot about detailed validation, environmental chamber testing procedures is a key, ask for someone to also enter in the testing validation and then gain expertise there, and very sort of well paid for domain where if somebody has a good expertise, they're also sort of well valued in these startups as well. So that supply chain is a good thing to pick up um, for new enthusiasts entering into these companies. So keeping a track of where the suppliers are for these components, and then um, what is their exact product portfolio, what are their let's say if we're talking about motors, powertrains, so keeping a good track of what technology, and then and batteries, let's say what exact chemistry, and then what voltage. It'll just give them a better idea about the market, as well as wherever they go, they add value in terms of their pre-understanding of the market and the supply chain. There's also of course marketing, sales, always playing a very good you know sort of role in deploying these vehicles in the market. And so if somebody is more sort of inclined towards sales and marketing, then they should have a good understanding of the market size, where is the state policies, then tenders if they're dealing with the direct B2G deployments, things like that. So a lot of ask there, and very specific ask for every domain basis interest. Um, so it's all about someone to first explore entering into an industry, and then see where they fit into all of these different roles which are available in a larger sort of picture, where all of these different domains come into play and then make a product successful. So yeah, so that's my sort of overall view of how somebody can sort of enter and then all of these domains uh, basis interest. Yeah.
Definitely a lot of learning, sir, and I absolutely agree with the fact that you have mentioned. Why and how much role that hands-on training plays is very important. Until and unless students are not having the proper hands-on experience, that really something matters. So basically, industries helping hands at industries helping hands, we are trying to bridge this gap so that students will be more skilled by knowing the thing in a proper way, as well as by having the proper real-time projects as well as the hands-on training. So as Ashish sir, you are leading the course here with us. Sir has already mentioned some of the technological facts as well. Would you like to throw some light like what kind of technologies and everything that students should have to continue for upgrading themselves. I would like to know your opinion, sir.
Since you are from the inside knowledge of the EV industry, so I would like to know that how much the software plays a vital role in the industry. Because some of the students are doing the courses, and we are also including the softwares that is MATLAB, Simulink, CATIA, ANSYS, and SolidWorks, and many more such softwares. How these such softwares are play a vital role for a student who can easily do that, have a master in any one of the softwares and enter into the EV industry. So, which softwares and what skill set students should have?
Sure. So in general, I think for any product to be designed, there is a key sort of ask for a software because there's always a virtual, equivalent that gets created first. Whether it's the powertrain or the design of the vehicle, first gets validated on design and then gets sort of prototyped before going on a road test. So for design, of course, the regular sort of the most used option, we that we also use is SolidWorks. Of course, a good understanding of design tools, SolidWorks or CATIA, gives, especially for design engineering roles. That's something that the role demands. Then for validation, a CAE software is used. A lot of thermal and CFD validation is also involved. So tools for that, powertrain sizing, so MATLAB, Simulink, uh, tools to have a good understanding of all the tools there. Then from I think apart from this, there are specific tools for suspension simulation, belt drives, transmission simulation, which is very sort of specific requirement. Then also, but then that's a good to have if somebody is trying to gain expertise in these domains as well. So yeah, so a lot of software gets used in testing as well. Testing and validation on a dynamo requires some sort of calibration with the machinery. So that and then collecting data from the devices that are fitted inside the vehicle. Also, now that all the vehicles, in some models also are leased out. So a lot of vehicles have telematics on board. So or IoT on board. A lot of data tracking and software comes into play there. So yeah, it's sort of intertwined with this industry as well. So yeah.
So there's a one more question. Since you have already worked in the hybrid section of EV, what's your take in the transforming the IC engine to the EV
Hmm.
to the EV pure EV, or you can say the hybrid EVs? Because there are some startups who are working on it, which is the before IC engines vehicles, and they are turning that into the EVs. So what's your take on that? Means for that perspective, also a student should take a look in the industry also.
Sure. So this process is essentially called retrofitting, where these vehicles are converted into electric, electric or hybrid. This adding this electric powertrain into the picture. Uh, so retrofitting as a model uh, is viable, and but then it's not sort of very it hasn't been let's say deployed in larger volumes as of yet because of various reasons such as subsidies not being available, and then a lot of RTO and compliance issues. And so as a learning experience, it's sort of good, and then you can build something innovative by converting into converting a vehicle to hybrid. It takes a lot of effort into putting a powertrain in somewhere where it's very tightly packaged already. Uh, but then it's only possible at large volumes as a business case when a customer or a fleet owner wants to convert in large volumes. Basically, uh, economically only that is viable. But as for someone to understand the basics of EVs, and if you're asking me whether somebody can go ahead and convert a existing petrol vehicle to electric, I think that's also a good understanding of how the powertrain works, and then what is it that someone can do with just basic uh, tools and sort of not designing the entire vehicle from scratch. Uh, so in a retrofitting process, I think you don't have to design the entire new chassis, suspension, wheels, and all that. So the only thing that you basically fit in is the powertrain, which will give, I think, a good understanding experience for the students to sort of explore and then learn about the powertrain and see how it works. Learn about energy consumption, uh, how the harness or sort of connections work and things like that. So good things to pick up from a first level sort of project.
Definitely, sir. And one more thing we would like to discuss with you is that, sir, like behind the success of every company, a skilled workforce plays a very important role. And right now, the future workforce is currently in the college. And colleges are nurturing basically the upcoming workforce who are going to affect the industry as well as our whole country. So I would like to know your views, sir, about it. How the training and placement department of the college should prepare their
Mhm.
curriculum or should train the students so that they can become skilled and be more adequate as per the industry demands of the electric vehicle industry.
Sure. I think good question. Very I think that has been the disconnect in sort of as of now, wherein we're still sticking to the syllabus or the curriculum from the past, and then at least from what I'm just saying it out of my experience. Uh, and a lot of learning happens when you join something or you start something of your own, and then that's when the exact learning starts. I think anything before that has been, at least from my experience, has been uh, a lot of excessive uh, you know uh, information which doesn't get utilized in an actual um, uh, application. So um, I think a good change would be to sort of course, have an industry connect with these institutions where you get people from the industry, and then they talk about similar to this sort of interaction where uh, the spokesperson or the people from the industry tell the students about what is the key ask in the industry, what is the skill set, what are the skill sets which are required for someone to first have, and then there'll be sort of more sort of, and there'll be they'll be more likely to be successful in the industry, uh, and then probably having training sessions, regular training sessions, of course, including that in the curriculum where people get trained in a physical sense or a hands-on experience where people get to explore and build new concepts or something that they want to work on uh, in schools and colleges, and then learn more about the powertrain drivetrain, so that they, in fact, to look at the larger picture, they will. End of the day, once they sort of graduate and then take up a job, they'll be the future consumers of these vehicles. So, better to have a good, early understanding about how these vehicles uh, operate and then sort of run, and what is the technology behind, so that nobody is left out in understanding these vehicles in the future. So yeah, that's my sort of perspective about sort of training, all, if not, it doesn't have to be very specific. Everyone to learn more, create awareness about EVs, at least.
Definitely, absolutely all right, sir. And many times, whenever we are having the interaction with the students, they come to us, and as a student point of view, they said, "Okay, we have done our graduation, we have taken this course, and we have known the basics of the particular things like electric vehicles. But are there the possibility of jobs in future? Like we are afraid, ma'am, like we are not seeing the opportunity, or like if there is an opportunity, so in which sector we have to expand? What's the scope? In India, the word scope is very like hype. Everyone is trying to see the scope in a particular industry. So please guide us and the students also, sir. Like they are afraid because of not knowing the proper information about this thing. So kindly guide to them what are the scopes are there in the electric vehicle industry and how they build their career out of it.
Right. Um, so to be honest, yeah, that's going to be always, sort of a, polarizing thing where a lot of students are interested and there are limited OEMs or startups working on this. Uh, I think a common, at least from the people that I know in my network, and lot I had onboarded early on. I can say this with experience that something. If anything, people who are really interested get onboarded into these startups or companies early on with whatever you know uh, knowledge they have at no incentive. So they just get on board, start learning, and then and that's their driver. I mean, they're really passionate about these vehicles or building these new vehicles. So not everyone would be equally passionate, or uh, there is uh, there is some and it requires passion to be sort of staying in a company and then working probably at no incentive or learning something new. So that requires a lot of passion and interest in sort of taking these some sort of initial roles and then learning more about the industry, the vehicles. Once someone's familiar, then the jump is, or rather, transition is a lot easy. So the first step, I think, for everyone that is crucial is to find that first, connect with any of these startups and then see if they can be, working maybe if not, with an incentive, but on a pro bono or some sort of, as a learning experience. Just show up and then see if, kind of, at least, I remember there's one person I met, just showed up in office and we had him, working on the, on the design next day. So, that was, a, kind of a thing that, sort of at least inspired me that, a lot of people are just boggled by some sort of, because in software or in any other industry, you get, incentive from the start, or so people don't tend to, take something which doesn't pay well. So that is a bigger challenge than anything else. I think learning takes time and then effort, and then once you have that learning, it's easier to be in a space which you always had loved. So if you start comparing, so I think this notion comes from whether you will get a job immediately is is the apprehension there. But it takes, because the industry is smaller, it's growing nonetheless. But there are a lot of people who are equally interested and capable in taking a lot of these roles. If somebody is very very keen on joining this, then this is another route which basically means that they work, sort of initially learn about the vehicles and then progress, with whatever domain they would like. And again, technical is technical, and having a technical role is not the only thing that drives electric vehicles. There is strategy, there is a lot of, business and marketing, roles which are a key driver for these vehicles. Uh, so uh, so yeah, that account, finance also is a key domain. So in any company, I think all of these different domains come together to sort of help make a product successful. Supply chain, like all the domains that we have sort of spoken about. So the interest may be automobiles later down the line, and somebody can actually transition later also to an automobile or EV industry. First start working on, if the interest is more on the other side of things, supply chain, or there is you know uh, uh, prototyping or any other thing. First, building the first level understanding of what they like doing, and then also progressing into a EV industry if they are not able to score an immediate job after their placement or after college. So that's my sort of 2 cents about, yeah, what's possible.
Right after the college, sir, like you have started something from the scratch, building on your own. After you B.Tech, you have started your own things. You are having the passion towards the electric vehicle industry, and you are already having an amazing journey with a lot of learnings on that journey. And whenever we are having the interaction with the students, but the one myth they always come up is that whenever any company comes for the placement for the electric vehicle industry, basically they will hire only the mechanical engineers or the electrical ones or the electronics. The people who belong to the computer science and IT, they think that this industry is not for them. So basically, it's a very big myth among the student community, sir. Right now, you were also on that phase where you have passed out your B.Tech and started these things on your own with your passion. So I think you would explain in a better way about the students why it's important to break that myth, and is this EV industry open for the students of all the different courses, sir?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's the general sort of misconception there. So a lot of roles out there for software architects, and then vehicle sort of display. Uh, so so in essence, I think, of course, vehicle as a product and manufacturing as a business demands a lot of hands, uh, which are more technical in terms of mechanical engineering, electronics, and electrical. But this is not overlooked as such. I mean, there is always software requirement as well in terms of developing something custom made for the display dashboard, for telematics tracking, or so of course this is a relatively lesser percentage of people in any automotive domain, but there are certain OEMs which are only dedicated, for making uh, software solutions for electronics, firmware, uh, things like that. So of course, this is a smaller percentage. That's why, in most placements, they are lesser in numbers, but they are there. It's not that, if somebody is very, very keen on starting something, I think there are more roles available with the OEMs like Porsches and then Mercedes and things like that. So, uh, but then that also requires certain sort of technical expertise before somebody can jump directly. So again, training themselves, upskilling themselves on the skill sets for the specific requirements for understanding the whole vehicle infotainment system, and then whatever the ask is over there. So yeah, so I wouldn't say there is no requirement, but relatively less requirement than mechanical, electronics, and electrical engineering, of course.
Definitely, sir. Like you have started your things on your own, then you are having a very good impact on the OEM industry also. And as the EV industry is rising and shining, it gives opportunities in the OEM industry also regarding the jobs as well as in the charging infrastructure and the battery technologies. So I would like to know your opinions on it, sir, on the OEM industry as well as in the charging technology. What kind of job scopes are there in these two particular areas?
Right. So I think on the OEM or the charging infra side, there is a lot of scale that will come about. OEMs, regular OEMs shifting to a good portfolio of EVs, new OEMs coming about, building new EV platforms. Fast charging as a technology is less explored right now. I think overall the country has 200, 300 fast chargers, but it's expected to grow to about, in the order of 10,000, 15,000 just in a year or two. So, it's, it's a massive shift that's coming about. I think someone to get familiar with, I would say start, have a, clear understanding of what the OEM ask would be in terms of a job role. Go through the job role and then understand, the even for fresher roles, for a GET or a GAT role, uh, there is a clear ask of skill set requirements. Go through them and then see whether that's a good fit for someone to sort of apply, uh, and also there is a possibility of even for the charging infra companies, it's more sales and ops based. I think in charging infra, there are lesser OEMs and more CPOs, charging point operators, that basically install these chargers out there in the market. So a lot of sales and ops requirement that requires a lot of hustling to set these chargers with the spare load available and then things like that, and scouting for places. Uh, so yeah, so again, a different uh, domain altogether, and that would, if somebody is keen on being a part of the industry, that would mean first have a look at some, if the same company that somebody decides to call their first step into entering into their sort of dream job later on. First, look at the job role, and then evaluate whether all the skill sets mentioned there is something that you already have or something that you can sort of pick up a year or two down the line, and then apply for the role. Meanwhile, keep learning, and then keep picking up courses, or interact with the industry. If there is no connect, then of course, if institutions can enable something like this, where uh, industry spokesperson can come in and then have a constant interaction with the students, and they can sort of resolve their doubts, or whatever concerns they have directly with the industry people. I think that be a good interaction on both sides, as well as keeps things transparent for the future sort of. And also, I think we look forward to having more interesting and more excited people to be amongst us down the line. So a lot of you know of course, more we want more people who are equally passionate about these vehicles, or future of these vehicles amongst us. So yeah, that's that's something that we also look forward to.
Absolutely, sir. And we are having a very common question that absolutely you can also correlate with it at the time of your B.Tech. This question is basically from the student community who are from the engineering stream. They would like to ask you, sir, in which year or in which semester they should have to start their preparation to become job ready for the EV industry. So kindly guide them, sir.
Uh, so I think it starts from whenever you can walk. So to be honest, it's just as a thing of passion. I mean, if you like automobiles, if you like, the way these vehicles feel when you ride them, drive them, and you're very passionate to learn how these vehicles work internally. There's some people who like software, some people like, traveling, some people like, driving or riding and motorsports. I think, yeah. So people who are very passionate about this will naturally, take mechanical engineering or related domains. And then out of that portion, also there are a lot of people who are very passionate and then pick up something very technical and then start their career in automobile or this sort of domain. So I think for anyone who thinks that this is a good opportunity or a good long term career for them, they can again visualize and try things out. I don't think there is a correct fit from the start. There's always it's better to sort of explore and see what you like. Maybe EVs, while everyone may be interested, maybe it's not a cup of tea for everyone. So yeah, I mean, people can sort of take up some sort of initial role and then see things align well. They like what they're doing, and then pivot if required. If not, stay and then explore more. Yeah.
Definitely, time is not a barrier. Whenever they want, they can start. And here still is something that matters, and the interest of the student is something that matters. So basically, sir, right after your engineering, then building up the company, from the student to be the entrepreneur as well as now the industry expert, I would like to know your suggestions and guidance to the students, sir, what you would like to suggest them, guide them, and advise them so that they can start their preparation and become job ready and industry ready.
Sure. So I think one advice would be to, of course, learn as much, even if nobody is, very technical or very, doesn't have to know everything about everything. Uh, at least pick something, that you like, and then learn more about something interests you, and this is something that uh, you'd like, you would at least like doing for the next whatever 5 years, 4 years, or 10 years down the line. I think best to sort of uh, keep learning, keep interacting with new people, uh, uh, and be fearless. I think that's something that has helped at least people I have met personally. So just never sort of back down from talking to people, managers, or anyone. You can sort of pick their brains directly, and then understand, get one-to-one learning directly from the seniors, and then learn more about uh, things that uh, things that is important, to know about. So I think one piece of advice apart from all this is, of course, to explore entrepreneurship as well. Um, if somebody is a believer that this um, uh, sort of propels them into whatever, maybe learning more, or there's a belief that they can build a bigger overall, a bigger um company or a bigger idea. I think everyone should push for, or not everyone, like people at least who are passionate should set aside the need for whatever money or whatever a job, and pick up something or pick up something if they're passionate enough. Pick something around entrepreneurship and see something, because early on, I think there is no opportunity cost as such, which cannot be sort of reversed, right? For somebody who's graduating out of college. Uh, so a lot of learning comes from entrepreneurship. A lot of even though you fail or you succeed, there's always a good learning experience that you get. So if somebody wants to also and takes a lot of out of a person, is very demanding in terms of uh, the daily operations, and then getting something done. But it's a very good learning experience to someone who's really passionate about uh, building something new and then innovative, and then create an impact without the sight of success as such. So uh, yeah, that's my piece of advice for anyone who's planning to graduate or is looking forward to entering an industry or starting something new. Yeah.
Definitely, sir. I hope the students should definitely follow your advices because you are one of the examples who have proved all these things. So definitely, and thank you for all your advices, sir. Ashish, sir, would you like to throw some key takeaways from this conversation? Would you like to conclude something?
I think Sir has covered all the topic that a student should take care of before graduating or before taking any courses or entering into the EV industry or starting their own, just like Saumya Sir did. And he explained very well. And I hope that the student community this session will be helpful for them also. And thank you to Soumya sir that he has taken time from his weekend and given such a precious advices and the thoughts about the EV industry inside of it, and also some of the technologies that we also don't know about. And that's it. I think Soumya sir has explained quite well.
Absolutely, I completely agree. Soumya sir has covered right from the scratch to everything, from its manufacturing to marketing, sales and finance and everything he has covered, like the entrepreneur way he has already covered in his journey. So thank you once again, sir, for giving your precious time to us. I hope the student community for which we are making efforts and trying to bring something fruitful for them will definitely understand these things and grab the knowledge out of this session. So thank you once again, sir.
Thank you.